So in today's episode, we are going to look at some fundamental concepts of Agile methodology. Uh, the idea behind making this particular video is that across the trainings that I conduct for even Prince 2 or PMP or general CAPM or any general project management related concepts, okay, many people, or rather a big majority of the people who attend these trainings, they have delivered the projects in a traditional waterfall methodology. Whereas both PMP as well as Prince 2 nowadays they lay a great stress on the agile methodology as well. In such cases, what happens is that the people attending the courses they do not have an exact understanding of what exactly agile means, what it means, how it works, what are the terminologies, what are the basic concepts, etc. And then what happens is because of that, they miss out on a very specific part of these trainings is comparison between agile and the traditional waterfall methodology. So what we thought is that we will conduct one small session and we'll make a video which will explain the fundamentals of agile. We are not teaching agile as a whole. We are not teaching it from a certification point of view. Maybe you want to do a Scrum Master certification or some other certifications. No, this video is only limited to give you the basic understanding of what is agile, some frameworks, some agile specific agile methodologies, some agile terminology, etc. Right. This is specifically for those who have not worked in agile environments and they want to do PMP, Prince 2, etc. And they want to understand at least at a basic level. Okay, so let's start with that. So we'll be talking about agile fundamentals. Okay, my name is Bipin and I am having a 35 plus years of experience in delivery leadership and transformation. I am a PMI certified PMP trainer as well as People Cert certified Prince 2.7 trainer. And I'll be taking you through the course today. So now let us start with the actual subject matter of Agile. So the agenda will be, we are going to divide this particular video or this particular concept in 3 videos because I want to make everything in smaller this thing so that people can focus on only a part of it. So we are going to look at introduction to Agile, then the Agile frameworks, Scrum rules, Scrum events, some common Agile terminology, and some key takeaways, and some specific tracking processes. When I say tracking processes, it means project tracking processes, which are typically used in Agile. So today, in the first video, we are going to look at introduction and the Agile frameworks. Then in the second video, we will talk about Scrum rules, Scrum events, and common Agile terminology. And then the rest of it will be part of your third video. So let's start with this now. So what is Agile? Okay, as the word Agile in English language suggests or means, being Agile means being quick, being able to pivot very quickly, being able to adapt to the new realities very quickly. Basically, speed. Agile is a term in English language which is closely associated with being quick, being sharp, responding quickly, being nimble, right? Fast-footed. You can change your approach, you can change your direction very quickly. Okay. You must have seen some wildlife documentaries where a rabbit is being chased by a pack of wolves, okay, or a deer is being chased by some cheetahs, right? Now, what happens is that this is a very typical example and a very classic example. I always like to give this example actually. What happens is when the hare or the rabbit is being chased by the wolves, right? The speed is almost similar, right? The prey and the predator, the speed is almost similar. right? Uh, what happens is when the wolves come very near, suddenly the rabbit changes the direction, right? This rabbit changes the direction in such a way and to such a degree that the wolves find it very difficult to change their own course and then be again on the back of the prey. Same thing, you must have seen in African savanna a lot of prey animals being chased by cheetahs or lions, etc. So when the chase is happening, when the chase is going on, the prey animals suddenly change their direction. They completely go into a tangent, and the predators find it very difficult to change their own directions and be on the chase again. The few seconds in between which the predators lose are lifesavers in most of the cases. As all these documentaries, they keep telling that only few chases end in a success. So the entire idea of being agile is exactly that, the same thing that the prey animals exhibit. You completely change the direction, you adopt yourself to the situation, and then you work as per the situation demands and not as per your expectation from the people, from the customer, etc. So agile today has become a very popular term, especially in software development industries. People have been doing agile way of implementations, agile way of development, etc. for almost 20-25 years now. Okay, and today most of the organizations are now using agile. Okay, accordingly, PMP and Prince2 a few years back brought agile concepts and terminology into their trainings, right? Uh, Unfortunately, many people who are doing PMP or Prince2 certifications don't have exposure to agile. So in today's discussion, we are going to look at some basic understanding and basic terminology of agile. Okay, so as you can see, agile rather than a methodology is a mindset. Okay, when you say mindset and a methodology is that you do a particular thing in a particular way. There are some set standards, set rules, etc. Mindset is something where which goes much deeper. Okay, we'll touch upon it in the next few slides. But in this session, we will talk about agile mindset. We'll talk about agile frameworks. What are agile frameworks and what is an agile framework, by the way, right? What are the different roles and functions? What are the different ceremonies? And what is a ceremony, right? That term itself is something new to people. Uh, Agile terminology. There are some specific terms which are used in the agile environment, and they mean something specific, right? As you can see here, uh, inspect, adapt, deliver, improve. Okay, so this is a continuous cycle. People adopt this continuous attitude and they become agile, so to say. Okay, so let's start. So let's first understand why this agile methodology or the philosophy or the mindset came about in the first place, right? Till about 25 years back, rather, I would say, the projects, either the development projects or implementation projects or projects in any industry for that matter, right? It was a standard way of doing things. You will meet with the customer, you will ask the requirements, you will gather the requirements, you will analyze the requirements, you will formalize the requirements, and then you will finalize the requirements. That creates a scope, right? The assumption was the scope will be tightly controlled, scope will be tightly defined in the first place, and then it will be tightly controlled as well as we move through the project. This scope will be used to design the systems, design the products, whatever it is, be it a building, be it a software program, be it anything, right? Or maybe a car for that matter, right? Anything that is getting developed and produced will be tightly monitored, whether it is within the scope and what exactly we need to do and how we need to do, etc. Right? Once design is done, we move on to the build phase, where we actually do the work to bring about that product in reality, that software or that whatever. Then we test it. We go through multiple testing cycles, etc. Once the software or the product, I will stick to the word product. Once the product meets some pre-agreed norms, we declare it to be usable, and then it is deployed into production environment, etc., for your use by the end users, right? The basic assumption is your requirements are very, very detailed. Requirements are captured very detailed in a very detailed manner. Requirements are frozen. Requirements will not change to a large degree. Requirements will not change frequently. Okay, even if there are some changes, some few minor things here and there. In case there is a change in the scope or the schedule, or whatever related to the project, if there are any changes in the critical parameters of the project, it will have an impact on the cost and the schedule and everything. So that was all understood, right? So the challenges were requirements used to change frequently. However amount of strictness you will bring in, however amount of time you spend in finalizing, formalizing the requirements, still there will be some instances, more often than not, where the requirements will change, right? And in this model, taking care of those changing requirements was very, very difficult. Customers saw the final product also very late, right? Customers used to see the product only after the testing had started. So we have completed the requirement, we have completed the design, we have completed the build. So almost 3/5 of the project is already done, already completed. And then the customer will actually see something with their own eyes. So as you know that unless I see something, I cannot have the full grip or full understanding of what I'm going to get. So the usual scenarios where once the customer starts looking at the actual product, they will find a lot of gaps in what they were envisaging, what they were expecting, and what they are actually going to get, right? Which was a big problem. Customer used to come back and say, no, Bipin, we want this. No, I thought I will get this, but you are giving me this. All such things used to happen. So this was a major drawback. Again, the testing is the second last phase. So if there are any defects, etc., all of the entire product will be tested here, and a lot of defects and the issues in testing, etc., will come up, and it will pile up as well. Okay. Because the project has already moved to a very advanced stage, going back and doing changes were very expensive. You will lose a lot of time, and whatever you have already done may have to be undone, redone, and then do it again, something like that. So these were very costly implications of the old model, right? Because of all of these reasons, projects often exceeded cost, schedule, or failed to meet the customer expectations, simply, right? So these were practical real life scenarios for most of us in the last so many decades of project delivery, right? So how to now address the situation, right? So a group of professionals in the end 1990s, they came up with some thought processes. They sat together, they started experimenting. They started experimenting with new ways of working, new ideas, new processes, new understandings. They wanted to shake the very fundamental basis of project delivery, that requirements have to be frozen and then only we will start, etc. They thought, what if I give a liberty, I give some kind of a flexibility to the customer? We start with some larger objective and we take a part of that, we start developing, we deliver that, we take the next one. Customer also has multiple opportunities to look at what is happening, what is coming out of the entire development cycle, etc. So everybody is getting a lot of flexibility, right? So in 2001, 17 software experts met in Utah in the United States of America and created an Agile manifesto. Okay. If you go to the internet in your browser, just search for Agile manifesto. They have a very simple, plain, basic website on which they have given the complete understanding of what they mean by Agile. And there are so many signatories who have accepted and who have signed up for that manifesto, right? So this was the event which formally introduced Agile as a new approach to project delivery, and the goals were faster delivery, better customer involvement, greater flexibility, and faster response to change, right? All of these are the hallmark of Agile methodology or Agile philosophy, okay? So if you are an Agile delivery person, you deliver faster, you have a very close connect and a continuous connect with the customer, flexibility for customer as well as the development team, and faster response to changes as and when they come up. The teams are in a better position to take up those changes or address those changes, right? So why it is called Agile? As I said in the my opening remarks, the traditional approach was more like to give you an analogy, more like a container ship, fully laden container ship, which can cover great distances, right? Which can go from continent to continent, right? It can carry a lot of cargo, right? But if you see the agility, if it is hit by a storm, very difficult to steer the ship in the shortest possible time. Yes, you can steer the ship away from the trouble spots, but it takes time, right? Whereas a motorboat, it is very fast. It may not cover great distances, but it is very fast. It can carry a lot of load for shorter distances. Obviously, cannot be compared with this, but the agility, right? So the moment there is a problem on the seas, it can reach quickly, or if there is a storm or something like that on the way, it can steer away practically within no time, right? So Agile means able to move quickly and respond effectively to change. So the whole idea is that the principle or the philosophy is that change is inevitable, change is going to happen, changes are going to come in the requirements, etc. Rather than restricting the changes, how I adapt to the changes. You can see the complete 180 degrees turnaround in the thought process, right? So Agile teams continuously adapt based on customer feedback, market conditions, technology changes, and business priorities. Okay, so that is why it is called Agile. Move quickly and respond effectively to change. So now what is Agile? Agile is a mindset and approach for delivering value through collaboration, feedback, and continuous improvement. So these are the three keywords in Agile. You can just note them down. Continuous improvement, continuous feedback, and collaboration. Okay. So Agile as a mindset, as a focus, is customer focused, deliver value that meets customer needs, because the connect with the customer is very close and very frequent and continuous rather. It is iterative. One of the major concepts introduced by Agile was the iterative nature of development. They work in short cycles and learn continuously. Incremental delivery, deliver working increments frequently. So you deliver something, you test it, you give it to the customer tests it, you take it back if there is any feedback. Otherwise, it is a usable part of the product that customer starts using it, at least to some extent, or to that extent, customer is able to start using the product. Adaptive, adjust to change based on feedback and learnings, and collaborative, work together across roles and functions. Okay, so Agile is not just a process or a group of or a set of processes. It is a way of thinking and working that enables teams to deliver value better, faster, and sustainably, right? So it is just not a methodology, it is a philosophy, right? And one more important thing to understand at this juncture is that Agile, being a philosophy, has multiple frameworks which make use of these Agile principles and they have their own terminologies, own rules, own ways of working, etc. So we'll see a few of them. There are two fundamental things about Agile. Agile is actually defined by two things. One is the Agile values, and the other are Agile principles. There are four Agile values. These values are individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Okay. Now here one thing we need to understand is that the items in the lower lines and the items in the upper lines, items in the upper lines are more important than the items in the lower lines. Okay, but doesn't mean that we are not valuing the processes and tools. Just that we give more importance to individuals and interactions. Okay, so working solutions over extensive documentation. Okay, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. So processes and tools are important, but I talk more about individuals, teams, collaboration, interactions, being humanly together. Working solutions over documentation is important. Documentation has to be done, right? It cannot be avoided. But to what extent I should put importance to documentation, right? I'll rather invest more in making sure that my solutions work, okay, and they are feasible, rather than first document everything, then discuss everything, and then go about delivering, etc. So that is a fundamental assumption. Instead of negotiating with the customer continuously, this will not happen, this was not discussed earlier, how can we do it at this juncture, rather than getting into those negotiations and contractual discussions, etc., collaboration with the customer, try to understand why the changes are happening, from where they are coming. If it is sensible, making sense to do those things, why not go ahead and do it, right? Responding to change over following a plan. Yes, plan has to be there. There has to be a plan. Not that Agile says we should not have a plan. There has to be a plan, but we need to be more sensitive towards responding quickly to changes, rather than not just saying that this is not in the plan, I cannot do it, right? The other way around is that this is not in the plan, but let us sit together and find out how we can do it. So that's the difference in the mindset. So these are the four Agile values. And then there are 12 Agile principles. Those Agile principles are divided into four sections: customer value, collaboration, quality, and continuous improvement. So highest priority is to satisfy the customer. Okay, this is the first and the foremost principle of Agile. Welcome changing requirements even late in the development, right? Here, even late in the development is the key word. Even if you are into the testing phase or whatever, if the customer comes with a legitimate demand for some changes, entertain them. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, right? Keep your delivery points not only at the end of the project, but make them intermittently. Take small portions of the product that you are building or the software that you are building, and then keep delivering in small increments. Okay. Collaboration, the second most important concept in Agile, is business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. So the involvement of the business or the customer or the end users is almost daily, almost continuous, and very thorough and deep. Build projects around motivated individuals. So here, if you see the individuals and interactions over processes and tools, so individual or the people consciousness of Agile is really very high, right? So build projects around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. So bring people in, give them the proper support, give them the proper understanding, give them the proper environment, trust them, they will deliver, right? The most efficient and effective method of conveying information is face-to-face conversation. So again, that interaction, that face-to-face interaction is very important, rather than geographically distributed teams. Agile places much more emphasis on co-located teams. What is co-located? People sitting in one single physical proximity place. Quality, working software is the primary measure of progress. If it is working fine, it is quality, right? Agile processes promote technical excellence and good design. simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential, right? So very simple. Don't get into jazzy things. Don't get into jazzy documentations and all that. Deliver, make sure it works, and then just move on. Continuous improvement, the last but the very important aspects of agile or being agile is continuous improvement. Agile teams sustain a constant pace indefinitely. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. So self-organizing teams is another important concept in agile. Basically a team which is empowered, team consisting of cross-functional expertise, many people coming together, everybody taking the ownership as and when required. People will come forward, do the job, go back to the background, another person will take over. So at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. So every now and then, every regular intervals, people sit together, people find out in the last, let's say, last iteration or last delivery phase, what went wrong, what could have been done better, what can be improved further, and they discuss, they come up with ideas, and they work accordingly. Okay, so the agile values define the mindset. The agile 12 agile principles describe how that mindset is applied in practice. So values are mindset, and principles are actually your roadmap or your guide to practice those principles, to practice those values. Okay, so these are the 4 values and these are the 12 principles. Okay, so now that we know basically what is agile, okay, now let's move on and find out what are the different agile frameworks. As I said, agile is a philosophy, agile is a mindset. Using that philosophy, several models have come up. We are calling it as frameworks. Instead of a model, we are calling it as a framework. So like lean, safe, Kanban, Scrum, etc. There are very large number of models or a lot of models based on lean concepts have come up. The most famous and the most widely used is Scrum. So we'll talk more about Scrum, but we'll just have one quick understanding of lean, safe, Kanban as well. Okay. So agile frameworks, agile is an umbrella, many frameworks, same agile values. Okay. So what are the different things? Scrum, it is an iterative approach with defined roles, events, and artifacts. Kanban is a visual tool, visual workflow management tool, where the flow of the work is continuous. Extreme programming is an engineering excellence and customer satisfaction, okay, tool. And lean is eliminate waste and maximize value to the customer, and safe is a scaled framework for large enterprises. Okay, so out of this we will just take a quick look. Scrum, the most widely used agile framework. Scrum delivers value in short fixed length iterations called sprints. Okay, generally the sprint, the iterations are called sprints and they last, they are fixed length. They last from 1 to 4 weeks generally. And if you are going to have iterations of 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 1 week or 4 week, whatever, throughout the project, that duration remains same generally, right? There are some roles which are properly defined, properly staffed, and people take them very seriously. There are some defined events as per the Scrum processes like sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective, etc. And continuous customer feedback and collaboration. Okay, so you start with the sprint planning. Then once your sprint, that is your iteration starts, you do a daily Scrum. Daily Scrum means you come together, sit together on a daily basis, and then you discuss the things. You review the sprint. Okay, team demonstrates the completed work to stakeholders and gathers feedback on the product increment. Okay, I'm developing a mobile banking app. So I develop a feature in those 2 weeks. I deliver that feature to the customer. I give a demo to the customer. Customer tests or customer gives some feedback, etc. So that is what happens in a sprint review. Retrospective are events where teams sit together, they reflect on the way they are working, what is happening, what can be improved, what has already worked well for us, etc. Okay, that is a retrospective. And product backlog is typically scope. In our traditional project methodology, we call it as a scope. So basically a prioritized list of what is needed for the product. Okay, what are the features, functionalities, etc. will be there in the product. So basically scope, right? So Scrum is best suited for product development projects. I'm creating a software, I'm creating a product, I'm developing something, software and technology projects with changing requirements. Okay, where the requirements are liable to change very frequently and to a large degree, Scrum is preferred. Kanban. Kanban is a kind of a visual tool. Okay, visualize work, limit the work in progress, and maximize the flow. So Kanban helps teams manage work by visualizing the workflow, limiting work in progress, and continuously improving the process. Okay, so it's a continuous flow of work. Work moves smoothly through the system. So how it looks like is that there are different activities, different tasks that need to be done. Okay, and there are 4 or 5 columns here. So you say to do means still there is nothing that has happened on these activities or these tasks. I put them on a sheet, I write them on a sticky notes, and I put that in the to do column. Okay, in progress, I should not have more than 3 tasks at any given point in time in a in progress column. Okay, now this limit 3, limit 2 are all flexible, but in the example I am taking 3, 2, 2. Then something which is in progress but waiting for the review, okay, which is again moved here, should not be more than 2. If at all they happen to be more than 2 or more than 3 here or more than 2 here, okay, it is called as a bottleneck. Then you have to put a special attention to items in that particular column so that the things can move smoothly forward. Testing at this moment, this means that these have been completed by the team and now they are being tested either by specialized people in the team or by the customer. Okay, once it is tested and completed, it is moved to the column done. Again, there is no limit on this. You can have as many as you want, right? So visual boards make work and progress visible to everyone. Work in progress limits, these limits, limit 2, limit 3, limit 2, etc. Okay, it's a very effective tool to make sure that things don't stop, and if they are looking like a stop there, then you can quickly pick it out, and which area, whether in progress or in review or in testing, where is the problem, you can pick out very quickly and you can take a corrective action. Flexible and adaptive, no fixed roles or events. So there are no scrum masters, there are no fixed roles, fixed ceremonies, or that is events, etc. It is a one continuous flow. Okay, there are no typically different iterations or something. It's a continuous flow. Focus on improvement, use metrics and feedback to improve flow and delivery, right? Benefits are increased visibility, better focus and productivity, improved flow and delivery, early detection of bottlenecks, adaptable to change. Okay. The next one is SAFE, called Scaled Agile Framework. So Agile at scale for the enterprise. So rather than doing Agile methodology only for a project, the entire organization itself gears up to become an Agile organization. It is used with multiple projects in an organization are using Agile framework, multiple teams are using Agile framework, and they are working together. Agile is implemented across large enterprises. When the entire organization is trying to go Agile, there is something called as a SAFE. Okay, it provides a framework for scaling Agile practices across the organization to deliver value at enterprise scale. Okay, key focus areas are alignment, align teams with business strategy and objectives, provide structure, compliance, and risk management. Coordination is coordinate programs, teams, stakeholders. Okay. And benefits are consistency across teams and programs, visibility and transparency, efficiency and faster delivery, better quality and predictable outcomes, ability to respond to change at scale. Okay. So this is a basic understanding of what is Agile and some Agile frameworks. Okay. So we are going to take a break here. We are going to stop. We are going to take the Agile framework of Scrum in the next video. Till then, if there are any questions, questions or any doubts, etc., do mention them in the comments. We would be very happy to get in touch with you and solve your issues and clear your doubts. Okay. So thanks for attending this particular session, and I'll very shortly come back with the next video, which is the specific to Scrum. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Continue with the next video to keep building your project management knowledge, one concept at a time. And if you are ready to take the next step in your professional journey, explore Knowlathon's expert-led training programs, including PMP, Prince2, Agile, and many more. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.